Have you ever reached the end of your strength, the point where you feel utterly spent, emotionally drained, and convinced you have nothing left to give? Maybe you've poured your heart into people, work, or life's challenges, only to find yourself empty, exhausted, and broken. It's as if every ounce of your energy, hope, and love has been drained away. Today, the 29th of June, I want you to hear this powerful truth. When you have nothing left to give, Jesus says, "That's when I give you everything." This is not just a comforting phrase, it's a divine promise, a lifeline for the weary soul. You're not alone in feeling this way. So many have walked this barren path and found that their emptiness was the very place where God's abundance begins to flow. It's in our weakness that His strength shines brightest. Let me share the story of David. David was a man who had given everything: his time, his love, his hopes to his family and work. But after a season of loss and hardship, he found himself completely empty. Exhausted and broken, David felt he had nothing left to offer anyone or even himself. It was in this place of utter depletion that David turned to Jesus, and something miraculous happened. He discovered a wellspring of strength and love that was deeper and more powerful than anything he had ever known. The Bible itself teaches this profound truth. In 2 Corinthians 12-9, Paul writes, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." This means that your moments of deepest vulnerability are precisely when God's power is unleashed to restore and empower you. Studies in psychology have shown that embracing vulnerability and surrender can lead to greater emotional resilience and well-being. Neuroscientists have found that practices like prayer and faith-based meditation can activate brain regions associated with calm and restoration, providing measurable relief from stress and exhaustion. Imagine your life as a dry, cracked field. You feel parched and barren, unable to produce any more fruit. Jesus' promise is like rain falling gently, soaking into the soil, bringing new life where you thought nothing could grow again. Today, you will begin to understand how to surrender your emptiness to Jesus and open yourself to receive His limitless supply. This isn't about passive waiting, but an active, faith-filled choice to trust that when you are empty, you are ready to be filled. Before we continue, reflect quietly. What parts of your life feel drained right now? What burdens weigh so heavily that you believe you cannot carry them any longer? Acknowledge these honestly. They are the doorway to the abundant life Jesus offers. In the next part, we will explore how surrender opens the way for God's strength and the practical steps you can take to receive His replenishing love daily. When you feel you have nothing left to give, it's natural to want to retreat, to shut down, or to push through alone. But the truth is, surrender is not about giving up. It's about opening a space for God's power to fill what you cannot fill yourself. This is where the grace overflow system comes in, a spiritual practice that invites you to release your burdens and receive Jesus' limitless grace. It's a daily process of letting go of what drains you and welcoming divine strength into every empty corner of your heart and mind. Let me share the story of Rachel. Rachel had been a caretaker for years, balancing her job, her family's needs, and her own struggles. Eventually, she reached a breaking point. She was depleted, both physically and emotionally. Rachel felt as if her well had run dry. In her despair, she turned to prayer and discovered the grace overflow. Through daily surrender, prayer, and meditation, she found herself replenished by a love and strength far beyond her own. According to research published in the Journal of Spirituality and Health, faith-based practices that emphasize surrender and acceptance can reduce burnout and improve psychological resilience in caregivers and those under chronic stress. This is because surrender allows your nervous system to relax, releasing the grip of chronic anxiety and opening you to restoration. The grace overflow begins with these simple but powerful steps. Acknowledge your emptiness. Be honest with yourself and God about your limits and weariness. Release your burdens. In prayer or meditation, consciously hand over your worries, pain, and exhaustion to Jesus. Receive His grace. Visualize Jesus pouring a radiant light and warmth into your heart, filling every empty space. Practice daily renewal. Dedicate moments throughout your day to reconnect with this grace, especially when you feel drained. Express gratitude. Thank God for His strength, even before you feel it fully, building trust and expectancy. Rachel's experience transformed her. She no longer felt alone in her struggle. Instead, she discovered a well of peace and power that grew deeper every day, allowing her to face challenges with renewed hope. Imagine the emptiness inside you as a vessel right now. It may be cracked and dry, but when you surrender, Jesus fills it with living water, overflowing with strength and peace. Ask yourself, are you willing to surrender your exhaustion today? Can you imagine your emptiness becoming the fertile ground for new life and strength? In the next part, we will explore the role of faith and community in sustaining this grace and how reaching out can open channels of support and healing. When you have nothing left to give, it's easy to believe you must carry your burdens alone. But Jesus' promise isn't just about divine strength filling your emptiness. It's also about the strength found in community. No one was meant to walk their hardest journeys in isolation. I call this the circle of grace, a powerful system of faith and fellowship designed to sustain you when you feel depleted. It's about creating a sacred space where you can both give and receive love, support, and encouragement without fear or judgment. Let me share the story of Marcus. After years of struggling with exhaustion from work and family pressures, Marcus found himself at a breaking point. He felt alone, overwhelmed, and utterly empty. But when he opened his heart to his faith community, he discovered the circle of grace. Through honest conversations, shared prayers, and acts of kindness, Marcus felt his spirit replenished and his burden lightened. Research supports this deeply human truth. According to the National Institutes of Health, social support significantly improves outcomes for people experiencing chronic stress and illness. Faith communities, in particular, provide emotional resilience, purpose, and a sense of belonging that strengthens healing. The circle of grace thrives on 5 pillars. Vulnerability, sharing your struggles openly, without shame. Listening, offering and receiving compassionate, non-judgmental attention. Prayer, lifting each other up in spiritual intercession. Service, acts of kindness that build connection and purpose. Accountability, encouragement to keep walking the path of faith and healing. Marcus found that being part of a loving community helped him move from despair to hope. He realized that while he might feel empty, he was never truly alone. The grace he received from others became the lifeline that kept him afloat. Imagine yourself surrounded by a circle of loving hands, each offering strength and light. Even when you feel you have nothing left to give, the circle of grace holds you and fills you with the courage to keep moving forward. Reflect for a moment. Who in your life could be part of your circle of grace? What might happen if you opened your heart and let others support you? In the next part, we'll dive into how to nurture your soul through daily faith practices that sustain your connection to Jesus and replenish your spirit continually. When you feel you have nothing left to give, sustaining your spirit daily becomes essential. This is why I call the next system the daily wellspring. It's a faith-based routine that refreshes your soul, replenishes your energy, and connects you with Jesus' never-ending supply of love and strength. The daily wellspring is not about grand gestures or overwhelming spiritual commitments. It's about simple, consistent practices that nurture your heart and mind every day, especially when life feels heavy and your reserves are low. Consider the story of Helen. After years of caring for others and facing personal trials, Helen was emotionally and physically drained. She felt like she was running on empty, unable to find peace or joy. Then she committed to the daily wellspring of morning prayer, brief scripture reading, moments of silent meditation, and evening gratitude journaling. These small acts became a source of profound renewal, helping her experience God's presence even in the toughest moments. Scientific research confirms the power of daily spiritual practices. Studies published in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine show that regular prayer, meditation, and gratitude journaling reduce stress hormones, lower anxiety, and increase feelings of peace and well-being. Here's how you can create your own daily wellspring. Morning connection. Begin each day with prayer or meditation, asking Jesus to fill you with strength. Scripture or inspiration. Read a verse, devotional, or uplifting passage that speaks to your heart. Mindful moments. Take short pauses throughout your day to breathe deeply, pray silently, or visualize Jesus' light surrounding you. Evening reflection. Before bed, reflect on moments of grace or answered prayers and write down things you're grateful for. Rest. Prioritize rest and allow your body and spirit to recover. Helen's journey through the daily wellspring restored her hope and vitality. She learned that even on the hardest days, small moments of connection with Jesus poured life back into her weary soul. Imagine your spirit as a well that can be filled daily. Even when you feel empty, these practices open the floodgates of grace, allowing new strength to flow in continually. Now ask yourself, what simple practice can you start today to connect with Jesus and renew your spirit? How can committing to daily care transform your experience of exhaustion and emptiness? In the final part, we'll explore the powerful transformation that happens when you fully embrace Jesus' promise to give you everything when you have nothing left to give. Today, as you stand at the edge of exhaustion and emptiness, remember this life-changing truth. When you have nothing left to give, Jesus gives you everything. This is not merely a promise, it's a transformation waiting to happen in your life. I call this the abundant overflow. It's the miraculous turning point where your weakness becomes the stage for divine strength, where your emptiness is filled to overflowing with God's grace, love, and power. Take the story of Samuel. Samuel had given all he could in his marriage, his work, and his community. Yet he found himself utterly drained, facing what felt like an impossible season of loss and fatigue. Just when he thought he couldn't carry on, Samuel experienced a moment of surrender. He gave his emptiness to Jesus and opened his heart fully to receive everything God wanted to pour into him. The result was a powerful renewal. Samuel discovered peace in chaos, strength in weakness, and hope where despair once ruled. He became a living testament to the truth found in 2 Corinthians 12-9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Scientific studies back this up, showing that spiritual surrender and faith in divine support can significantly improve emotional resilience, reduce depression, and enhance overall well-being. Here's how you can invite the abundant overflow into your life. Full surrender. Release every burden, every worry, and every trace of exhaustion to Jesus with trust. Open receptivity. Allow yourself to receive God's grace in whatever ways it comes: peace, comfort, renewed energy. Faith-filled affirmations. Declare aloud truths like, Jesus fills me with strength, or my weakness is the place of God's power. Live in gratitude. Celebrate every moment of renewal and share your testimony to encourage others. Persevere in hope. Remember that this is a journey. Trust God's timing and continue to lean on His strength daily. Samuel's life became a beacon of hope, proof that even when you feel completely empty, you are poised for a divine replenishment that changes everything. Now, I invite you to take a deep breath and say to yourself, I surrender my emptiness. I receive God's abundance. I live in His strength. Let this be your prayer, your declaration, and your new reality. Today, the 29th of June, know that Jesus is ready to fill you with everything you need. When you have nothing left to give, that's when His grace overflows the most. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May you walk forward in renewed strength, hope, and faith.